So now I'm in the whole 3-4 months. I'm in the whole 3-4 months, and regardless of what he had going on, he was always focused. You know, he is this law work. He focused on this law work. Now we sitting in the hole. Nothing is deterring him from that. So the thing that a lot of people miss is we never had a chance to process the trauma that put us in the situation we were in.
There you go.
So I got in trouble. My mother woke me up 13 years old, pulled a gun on me, told me to leave home. I'm 50. I was 13. So I didn't deal with that trauma till I was 17 or 18 or 19. Right? Then I didn't deal with the traumas from 17, 18, and 19 until I was 25, 26, 27. So by the time I went to prison and got a 57-year sentence, I still hadn't dealt with the trauma really from 13 to 14 when I got put out. Wow. So let me tell you how this room helps me dictate this. I tell people around me all the time, I got life figured out for me. Not necessarily for everybody else.
That's hot.
So it's 100 people in this room. That means I have to figure out how do I coincide with everybody else in the room. But being in a room makes everybody familiar. So let's say how we all got in the room. A couple days ago, I walk up to BomeccaBey. We exchanged pleasantries at a child's funeral, right? He invited me to come to breakfast. What is BomeccaBey known for? Most feeding people. You put people in a room, you feed them, then you can open up. But it's a brotherhood thing. So now, here it is. I'm sitting in a cell, this guy 17 years ago, and we talking about trying to find a way to go home. We basically on a lifers unit. You got 100 years, I got 100 years, he got 100 years, we all in the same place. But yet it's still, now a brotherhood is being formed. I'm Sunni Muslim, he a Muslim, guy next to us is in the next, we all come together, right? So now, you shake my hand, we exchange pleasantries, you send me a message to say, I need you to get dressed up, we need to come to breakfast, we gotta look our best. So now, a part of me dealing with the trauma that I'm dealing with every day, because there's absolutely no way to do all that time and not be messed up.
Right.
But like I just told this brother here, when I walk in, now the first conversation I engage in is constructive. Man, this brother sitting outside of the door. It doesn't matter where we came from, when we all get in this room, now we're dealing with our trauma, right? So now, we end up being in the same place at different times, and all of us running to one another. Now we embracing each other with something that's helping us cure whatever our traumatic situations are. But sometimes you got to get it out. We have to get it out. Sometimes we meeting, I have a very, very complicated job, but I place myself in a position where I can help people and I can open up doors. The goal is, I feel like progress erases history, and a lot of us in this room have an opportunity to erase our histories. So first time I see this brother, I say, listen, man, I gotta pick you up, we gotta come eat. I'm gonna take you out, let's go eat, let's sit down and chop it up. We go back and forth, and I share my experiences with him before he came home. And then the first thing I tell him, like I go to message him after so long, and he out, I'm like, man, I gotta find him.
Right.
Look where I run into him.
Right.
So I already know when I walk in here, I'm finna run into the who's who, or who been there, who done that, right? So guess what? Now we're not in this room trying to compete and boast over who the baddest, who the biggest gangster, you know, this, that, and other. Now we sitting up here having a conversation about being men.
Collectively.
Yes.
Right? So now that's a healthy environment.
Yes.
Right? Because when we leave here, we still got to deal with the trauma. But understand, one of the reasons why the trauma never goes away is because a lot of times we haven't dealt with the original core of it. You know what I'm saying? So if my issue was with my mother 37 years ago, guess who I had to sit down and have a conversation with?
Wow.
My mother, the same, I'm a God-fearing man, the same woman who bore me. I had to sit down with that woman and then separate my differences from that and be like, listen, you my mother. God ain't never asked me to love him, he asked me to worship him. Therefore, I follow instructions. My principle outweighs everything else. So then I sit down with this woman whom I love, who bore me, and then we set our differences aside. That opens up so many other possibilities in my life. You know what I'm saying? So now it's not, and also be mindful of this. It's not where you live, but how you live. You know what I'm saying? So we have normalized so many things in our lives. Yeah. We've normalized the violence. We've normalized excuses. That's right. Yeah. That's right. So if you the biggest thing, trauma to me, is when people offer me excuses, because I've always been in a position where I had to deal with consequences. So principle and consequences is how I live my life. I've never read anything in Islam. I know 114 surahs of the Quran, 5 books of the Torah, 66 books of the Bible. And listen, I've been through every chapter of the Moor Science Temple. Listen, nothing teaches us to be emotional. You know, this, that, and other. We got to stand up. We got to be a man. We got to be tough. We got to be this. We got to be that. But this brother said to me when I sat here, guess what? We got to ask for help too.
That's right. That's
so
right.
a lot of times, you know what help is? Yeah. When we embrace one another, and then we come together. Listen, I got up on a Sunday morning, and he told me to, listen, get yourself together and look good. That's bad. Then he texted me this morning. Early, you texted me like 6 o'clock this morning.
You're up, man. We up with the Eagles.
He didn't send a group text. He texted us individually and said, get yourself together. So you know what I did? I got up. And I'm like, man, I got 50 suits in my closet. I say, BomeccaBey say, get it together. I say, let me go up here. And when I was tying my tie, what I was thinking about was the brotherhood that I'm embraced when I walk in here. Got here on time. It was 3 of us here. And I'm like, the message should have said, leave your suit jacket so we can come in here and put the room together. But listen, the beauty of it is, the beauty of it is, I see a lot of people here I took count with. We not taking count anymore. Now we counting the men in the room. Now that we are men in the room, it's time for us to walk back out of these doors and do what we're supposed to do in the communities and society that we are part of, because now our progress can erase our history.
All right.
Yeah, that's hot.
Great. You know, and as I hear some of these traumatic situations, just hearing the stories, period, they all touch home, because we all lived in that kind of silo at one point in time. And as we lived in that silo, we learned so much. But without our past history, we don't really have no future. You know, and I think of that. I say, if there's anything in my life I could change, what would it be? And I thought, I said, you know what? Nothing. Because everything makes us who we are.
That's right.
So if you change one thing, a paradigm effect take place, and you don't know where it may end up. You see, so Allah had something in mind for us. See, we done made it through a storm. And sometimes it's still raining.
Yes, sir.
We still getting wet out here. But yet still we know we're in the storm.
Yes, sir.
See, and we know that we can overcome, because we thought about so many times, we counted ourselves out. Some of y'all in this room had a lot of money, but money didn't get you out of prison. It just didn't. You thought you had one of the best lawyers, it didn't get you out of prison. You had a number of people working on your behalf and didn't get you out of prison. It wasn't until Allah said it's time for you to go down.
Yes, sir.
See, when Allah says it's time, when you ain't even thinking about it, sometimes you done counted yourself out. But Allah still got you in. Why? Because you done prayed so much to Him. See, the truth moves slow, but it cuts as it goes. See, it don't move at man's time, it moves at God's time. And it moves at God's speed. That ain't microwave speed, because we live in the society now. People want everything when they want it, how they want it now. But it's only when time. It only comes through time. Why? Because we got to be comfortable with when we get it. See, then we'll appreciate it more once we get it.
Yes, sir.
And as I was talking to Parks Bay over here, and he was telling me about when he came to the institution as a young man. How old was you then when you first came?
17.
17. How many time did you do?
35 altogether.
17 did 35 years collectively. What helped you get through that, man?
These 3 brothers right here.
These 3?
Yeah. And
Hines Bay, Alexander Bay, or Squally Bay? I mean, what is it? Pop Squad? What is it? Hold on, wait a minute.
Papa Squad.
See, but that's like 40 years, so I'm just like, what is Alexander Bay? SamsteinBey. Okay,
SamsteinBey.
SamsteinBey. Yeah, we use that. But we just, we know what we talk about. In any circle, you say certain names, people are, oh yeah. It ain't got to be no second guess. It's like, yeah. So when we got, Night Train, BomeccaBey right here. Everybody done been through something this done brought them to where they at. And it was a struggle, you know. And some people, by turning to great God Allah, holding on to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I could say personally, it saved my life and just saved so many other people's lives in this room.
Yes, sir.
You know, as Brother SamsteinBey spoke about, he said, I didn't join for protection. I joined because I heard the voice of the great God Allah. And that's the way that I want to go. Why? Because Allah is in each and every one of us. So don't let nobody try to count you out and try to tell you because you ain't making the progress they think you should make, you're not making progress. That's right. Because they don't know the hell you've been through.
That's right.
See, they just don't know. They don't know, hey, much progress has been made. So as I was talking, you know, this BomeccaBey, that's Lori's brother. That's Lori, that's her brother right here. It's one of her brothers right there. Sister BomeccaBey, it's one of her brothers right here. Right there. Right there, yeah. So when y'all see this brother right here, look at him. He know I was gonna get on him because he's showing me pictures, you know, well, I got some suits, you know. He ain't got no 100. He got some suits though. I try to get this more suit, more like, no, I don't want that suit. I got suits, you know what I'm saying? I say, and the Mo said, watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. Mo put on that nice suit right there. Mo, that would have got him a parole. That would have got that more. That Mo came like that. That would have got that more parole.
I discharged.
You discharged? You discharged? Oh, yes.
Praise Allah.
No, ain't no praise Allah. You discharged. That's serious. That's serious.
Stop.
Yeah, that's extra trauma.
That trauma ain't tell me nothing.
When you talking about the discharge, that's a cold piece right there. Wally Bay, I seen you at. Go. Marco, this east side right here. We got to bring east side.
First, I want to thank you for all your contributions to humanity.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
But my story is a little different. I was telling a sister, and she would never understand. I told her
Speak up a little bit.
I told her the best 18 years of my life was in prison. And I say that because I can remember I grew up in the Black Bottoms in '67, the riot, when tanks, that's what traumatized, that was the beginning of my traumatization. And from there, me and SamsteinBey, we come out to the same neighborhood. Ever since I was in the 2nd grade, I've been in the gang, bro. Period. And when you in the gang, you talking about trauma, everything right, you flip over. Everything upside down. You thinking everything wrong is right. And I was traumatized through that for years. And it wasn't until I went to prison and done 18 years, and I thank a whole lot of people, that I began to be able to, I became retardated, like the brother said, because I was static. But at the same time, I became retardated. I began to learn what